You probably have already experienced the boundaries of online collaboration. Hundreds of mails with dozens of versions for the files. Impossible to keep track of who has changed what and when. With Fabisoft Folio Cloud, you get online storage to make your files available for you and your team anywhere and anytime. The upload is easy. Use drag and drop in your browser, or even integrate the shared folder in your file manager. You can work on your drafts, memos, and documents together. Fabisoft Folio Cloud takes care of access rights and revision control. Fabisoft Folio Cloud is easy, secure, and online, and it's available for free. Start now and discover a whole new online collaboration experience.
Okay, well then, good afternoon to the European Cloud Contest, but you're not allowed to vote later, so therefore I'm on the safe side. Welcome to this short presentation, about 15 minutes, on what is SAP's cloud strategy, or as we phrased it here, big data, mobile and cloud combined, the new paradigm shift. Well, if we actually look into these topics, then a lot has been written just recently about this topic, and most of the leading analyst firms, be it Saugatuck, be it Gartner, and a couple of others, have published what their blueprints are of the new emerging architectures. Besides big data, I would like to add a few more elements to that, because I believe that applications which will be with us for the next 10, 15 years will cover all of these areas. If we go quickly from left to right, then yes, big data is a key theme for us in the future. Why? When I meet with large customers, and I was together with some of SAP's largest customers last weekend, and we talked about architecture, and for example, Bank of America said that they are now at a point where they run into serious limitations with traditional relational database architectures. Just take one example. In their case, the profitability analysis that they run on an SAP system typically runs 4 hours. Their lead architect told me that after 4 hours, pretty often they've forgotten the question they were actually asking. Moving on to a new architecture, which is really big data aware, they could cut that time down to 4 minutes. Okay, if Hasso Plattner would be in the room, he would say 4 minutes is still way too long. Cut it down to 4 seconds, so some more challenges ahead for us. But big data will be with us, and it will be big time with us, simply because we will get swamped with data. If you just look today into the retail industry, the amount of data that a normal point of sales terminal transmits now can already flood you with a lot of information. Big data is one thing, that you can manage these vast amount of data, but equally important, probably even more important, is analytics. Analytics means that you have capabilities that you can basically ask any questions you want to ask, slice and dice the data independent of the size of the underlying data pool. That will be mission critical. So whether you now do ad hoc analysis or a traditional data warehouse management scenario, analytics, how you visualize the data, whether you can aggregate the data on the fly or not, these are critical elements. And I'll talk about a couple of use cases in a few minutes. The cloud as a topic, and sorry that I have to say this, will probably go away, because it will just be one of multiple deployment models. And you as a customer, as a consumer of these services, for you it won't matter who is actually providing the service, as long as it's secure, as it's reliable, and as it's available. So this is probably more a bit of a hype theme, but that will go away. What will remain with us is that companies will decide on whether they want to provide this service on their own, whether it has a mission-critical business impact, or whether they say, you know what, it is actually not my it is not my core competency to provide these kind of services, and therefore I take a reliable and a trusted partner who does that for me. Application-wise, we will see all applications that we have today also in the cloud. So there will be no business processes, and I can at least say this for SAP, which in a couple of years from now you will not be able to run in the cloud. Be it all of financials, be it all of customer relationship management, be it all of the other topics. So there will be no limitation that certain processes can't be run in the cloud. Mobile. Mobile is the key imperative for this new architecture. I'm working since a couple of weeks now for our new board member, Lars Dahlgaard, and he's running fast. And let me tell you, if you want to really upset him, you show him a new capability of your cloud service on a traditional notebook. You will be out of the room as fast as you can run. If you want to show something to him, you show it to him on an Android phone, you show it on an iPhone, on an iPad. Anything else does not matter. Whether HTML5 is really the answer to all of our questions, that's another interesting debate, but mobility and mobile first, this is the key paradigm. Don't waste your time with developing user interfaces for traditional infrastructures. As long as they don't run on mobile devices, they are not relevant. And I can tell you today, if I analyze the statistics around SAP Business by Design, already today 60% of all requests to these services come from mobile devices. And above a certain management level, it is close to 100% that they are using iPhone and iPad. So therefore, mobile is absolutely key. Last but not least, and we didn't have that in the title, therefore I want to extend it here, social and collaboration. The integration of services like Facebook, like LinkedIn, and others from SAP, GEM, and Streamwork will be mission critical. Without those, an architecture is incomplete. I want to give you a simple example. It is not that much yet here in Europe, but it is very much so in the US. When you hire new employees and you ask them to put their data, for example, about their professional background, into your corporate HR system, they will simply tell you, go away. They will say, if you want to know something about me, look up in LinkedIn. If you want to, you can download the data from there, but you know what? I will maintain my data only once, and I will do that in my social network, because this is where it adds value to me. So the social aspect is not about how can I add value to my company, but how can I add value to myself? This is the self-marketing, the self-promotion environment, and that matters most. If your applications don't integrate those, you're missing out on a big topic. So if you ask me, how does a successful architecture for the next 15 years looks like? Cover these 5 areas, and I think you have a good start there, and you can see where that takes us. A few examples, big data and analytics. There's an interesting case for Burberry. Those of you who didn't have the time or didn't want to travel to SAP's annual customer conference in Orlando, you can look at all of the replays. So if you go to www.sapphirenow.com and look up the keynote of Hasso Plattner, there was an interesting appearance on stage of the CIO of Burberry, the fashion brand, and he talked about how Burberry, whenever you enter a store, already knows what you've purchased, and that they are blending this data now with your social activities in networks. So they know who you are following, they know what you have bought. Should this person that you follow also have a loyalty card with Burberry, they also know what this person bought, and they derive from their recommendations. The next step is, when you enter a Burberry shop, that the system recommends you, maybe this and this coat is available in your size, in your preferred color, and here's a 10% discount if you want to buy it right now. So these are the interesting use cases which you can only run if you have big data capabilities, because you need to collect all data from all stores worldwide in one central system. You need the right analytics system so that when the customer is in the store, that you can immediately react, and you have maybe 3 or 4 seconds to run this one-on-one campaign management capability and really get connected to the customer. On the cloud, large and small companies run their businesses in the cloud today. To be honest, this development moves a lot faster than we actually had thought. We thought for quite a while cloud is primarily a topic for mid-market companies because they benefit both. To be honest, we were completely wrong. If you see that Siemens does all of their goals management, all of their talent management today in the cloud, then it is very clear that that part of the reality is here and that we are moving at the speed of light. Mobile, I talked about it, and here one example, Canada National, the Canadian Railways. I talked to their CIO recently, and he said for his company, only mobile devices matter. Because he says where he travels, that is not an environment where you can run a normal notebook. So for him, running all of the trains equipped with mobile devices, which work in a Canadian environment, that is really mission critical. An application which you can't have on these devices is just not relevant to these kind of customers. So user group number 1, think of all of the managers with the iPhones and the iPads. For them, you need to have all of the applications available. User group number 2, everybody who's traveling, you want to have these people available, and therefore mobility is key. Last aspect here on the social networks. Most companies, including mine, are paranoid about the idea what kind of discussion is going on right now in Facebook, in LinkedIn, and the other social networks about their solutions. There's no chance that you can keep up with all of the blog posts, all of the Facebook pages, where somebody may talk about your solution. If somebody complains in Facebook about your product, that may not be an issue. If that person has a lot of followers, it is a very big issue. So therefore, these are the 5 architectures which you will need to have in mind, and you can follow up on all of these links here to see what is behind these stories. So get ready, the reality is here, and it comes a lot faster than we thought. Conclusion from the SAP side, and that was last week's announcement, and the final part of that discussion you may have seen last night when we announced our intent to acquire Ariba. There are at least 2 markets which completely went cloud over the last years, the CRM market and the human resource management market. The next markets which will flip from on-premise to on-demand will be supplier relationship management, therefore our latest acquisition or our intent to acquire Ariba, and financials on demand. There's no reason why companies can't run all of their financials in the cloud. Good example is our own subsidiary SuccessFactors, 1,800 people on SAP Business by Design. We run the entire business end-to-end on the cloud platform. With that, if you have the 5 technologies in mind, and at least these markets here, and this picture is not steady state. That will change over the next 12 months, and we will probably see a few more dimensions there. But that is where we are taking the whole thing. Good. That much from my side. Thanks a lot for attending this session, and I will be available for questions online through the chat tool, and I hand back to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Wir können eine Frage auch von hier aus stellen, sogar ich werde die andere Frage direkt bekommen im Chat beantworten. Jemand eine Frage an Herrn Zinow? Okay, dann...
Schade. Ja, wahrscheinlich, genau. Irgendwie sowas ist passiert, ja. Also übertragen wir noch in die anderen Lokationen oder bleiben wir bei Deutsch? Gut, okay, also ich glaube, das verschiebt sich über die Zeit. Im Moment haben wir sicherlich den größten Peak beim Mobile, einfach weil da der Druck ist. Der Druck kommt also auch wieder, wenn ich in den USA bin, ich habe vor 2, 3 Wochen Chevron besucht, habe gefragt, was ist euer wichtigstes IT-Projekt im Moment? Ich habe also alles Mögliche erwartet und der CIO sagt mir, unser wichtigstes Projekt im Moment ist, alle Anwendungen auf Apple iPhone ablauffähig zu machen. Ich sage, habt ihr sonst keine Probleme? Und sagt er, doch schon, aber Sie sind jetzt an dem Punkt, wo Sie Leute einstellen und wenn Sie die typische Einführungsveranstaltung machen und sagen, hier und die Firma gibt Ihnen Ihr Notebook, da greifen die in die Tasche und sagen, das ist mein iPhone. Entweder deine lustigen Anwendungen laufen auf meinem Gerät oder ich komme nicht. Also bring your own device ist vielleicht noch nicht Tagesrealität in Europa, in den USA ist es Tagesrealität und in den nächsten 1 bis 2 Jahren bei uns auch. Die Leute haben keine Lust mehr, so wie ich, ständig mit einem 15-Kilo-Sack spazieren zu laufen, wo man dann eine Mischung aus traditioneller Infrastruktur, neuer Infrastruktur, privat und von der Firma hat.
Okay, vielen Dank. Ich sehe ganz weitere gegen den Chat und wir gehen in die nächste Session. Vielen Dank.
Danke.